Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at this. The new Tier 10 Premium ship, the second Tier 10 Premium in the game, I think, after the Buffalo. The Stalingrad, the big, very big Soviet battlecruiser. Now, unlike a lot of the higher tier ships, this thing actually existed. She was conceptualized as a battlecruiser of sorts, but, well, the Soviets really didn't get around to starting to build her until the 1950s, because first the Germans invaded and put all well-laid plans aside and had their very own idea of Stalingrad, so that didn't happen. And then after the war, they didn't necessarily have the infrastructure to do this, so it took them quite a bit, and the design had changed a couple of times. In the end, the shipbuilding companies didn't really like it because they didn't have the infrastructure. Then the Navy didn't really like it because they wanted something to accompany the carriers and face American battle groups. Whereas Stalin himself said, no, this is a coastal defense ship. This is not supposed to be sailing around on the ocean hunting things. This is supposed to be staying close, giving artillery support, dealing with light cruisers, especially British of sorts, and doing anti-aircraft duties. So she was somewhat redesigned and following Stalin's wishes, personal wishes against everybody else's opinion, actually laid down. But Stalin died. And then everybody else said, screw that, we're not doing this anymore. He's dead. No, we're scrapping that. So she was scrapped and put out as a, like whatever they had, the whole part was put out as a target practice thing and then eventually scrapped. But they ended up actually inventing a new gun for this because as a battlecruiser design, again, battlecruisers are designed to outgun things they can't outrun and outrun things they can't deal with. So anything up to 200 millimeter, she should be able to sink and her armor should be able to deflect that. Anything beyond that should be running away. Which means that the Stalingrad has a newly designed gun, and again, this was Stalin's personal wishes, to get the 300 millimeters rather than the 220s or even lower that she was initially designed with. So she's got a 61 caliber barrel length, which means she's got extraordinary range on these things. But in return, well, she was supposed to be a coastal ship and she was not supposed to be engaging anything above 200 millimeters. So the armor is dreadful. Comparing her to the Alaska at Tier 9, the American super heavy cruiser, because Americans don't do battle cruisers, so it's a super cruiser. So comparing her to the Alaska actually has better armor. And the armor in the Alaska wasn't that great to begin with, because the Americans skipped quite a bit for a ship that size in terms of armor. The Stalingrad has worse armor than the Alaska. She has basically heavy cruiser armor. What she does get, though, is a very good speed and a somewhat decent health pool with almost 50,000 HP. So what do we have? We have a ship that is, for its tier, relatively poorly armored, which handles like a battleship and has 305mm main guns, which are extremely precise, extremely long range, have pretty flat firing arcs, and are doing a somewhat decent amount of damage and reloading reasonably quickly with 14 seconds. She also gets a set of very, very good secondaries, and she desperately needs that. So these are 130mm dual-purpose secondaries with a base range of 6.7 kilometers. This is not a secondary build. This is the base range of these things. 5-second reload, and that means she can actually kite away from destroyers and deal with deal some decent amounts of damage with her secondaries. And she needs to, because she is maneuvering like a battleship. The AA is not bad. Again, we're in tier 10, so it's not a bad AA. The 130s are doing a very reasonable job at the long range, and she's got a good set of short range AA. The surface detection is absolutely dreadful, and this is again the same problem that you have with the Alaska. You get spotted almost at the onset of the battle. There's a fair chance that you're actually being the first ship that's going to get spotted if you move forward. By getting back to the AA, so she does get the Air Defense Alert 1, which still gives us a 75% increase for damage, and it's better than nothing, but she's not a dedicated AA cruiser. You can do a very reasonable amount of anti-air damage with this ship, but there are other ships in this tier which can do a lot better. She gets the precise aiming system too, which again tells us how this ship is supposed to be played. Now, I have found many interesting and fun and engaging for the enemy team ways of how not to play the Stalingrad. There are many things that can kill the Stalingrad. Determined carriers, although to be fair, determined carriers can kill pretty much anything they want. Enemy battleships, light cruisers like the Mino. You do not want to get in a fight with the Mino with these things, because the Mino will smoke up, the Mino will dodge, the Mino will torpedo you from range and just rip you to shreds. You do not want to battle Minos in this thing, unless they are stupid and sailing right at you. So if you can get into a close range fight or a mid-range fight with a Minotaur, by all means, you will shred it. But at range, I stand no chance against a skilled Minotaur player. What else can you not deal with? Destroyers. You're very much a battle cruiser. You're not your off-the-shelf cruiser who can do things against destroyers. Did I mention enemy battleships? Yes, you can't tank because your armor is poor, even by cruiser standards for tier 10. So, and you're in a massive ship. So while you can, point your nose in and get your forward guns to bear at long range, you can't quite do that in a center cup. So you can't put her into an aggressive position against battleships. You do need to stay at range, and I find it actually easier to kite in the ship than to tank. Yeah. So what does it leave us with? Well, it leaves us with a ship that is really good at one thing, and that is long-range sniping. This is a purebred long-range sniper. You want to play her at her maximum range, and that is a very, very good range, because even without the historical camo, she has a range of almost 14.5 kilometers. So you're maneuverable enough to dodge, and you just want to kite and use the shells. Now the problem that you have with this is somewhat with the guns, because these 305s will bounce clean off a Yamato at 14 kilometers. You're not going to do a huge amount of damage, which means you actually have to resort to high explosive for long range engagement with heavily armored battleships. Things like Iowas, and other battle cruisers, you can deal with because you get good penetrations on plunging. But more heavily armored ships, not so much. And for an HE spammer, she doesn't have the reload because the guns are taking 14 seconds to reload. So I've honestly really been struggling to make a dent, right? I haven't played the Moskva, but I personally probably would prefer faster reloading, somewhat lower caliber guns against these 305s. Now, if a light cruiser gets in your sights and you actually manage, or even a heavy cruiser, things like American heavy cruisers, any heavy cruiser really, at range with the 305s, you can do very, very well. Destroyers are a bit problematic because at range you can't hit them, and close up you don't have the maneuverability, so that's when you need to rely on your speed and your secondaries. Carriers, that's a story of their own really. But for a cruiser, she is not a multi-purpose ship. This is a pretty much single-purpose ship. You want to stay back, you want to stay at your maximum range and deliver support fire. You do not want to push into enemy fire with this thing, because he just doesn't have the armor for it. So equipment-wise, what do we have? I have ended up with the main battery mode 1 in the first slot, because for me she's a kiter. I need to maneuver and dodge shells because she cannot tank, and the turrets only have a 5 degrees per second base traverse, which isn't fast enough. Even with the main battery mod 1, they're not really as quick as I would like them to be. I have the propulsion in the second slot, because again, kiting, and I've got the steering in third for that very reason. Now, the fire and flooding resistance is not great, but it's also not absolutely dreadful. If she gets under concentrated fire by a G-spammer, she will burn. But I think an over like 26-second base acceleration, I really felt I needed the propulsion mod. Supply-wise, it's your standard cruiser setup, or even battleship setup, crew rations, maintenance, and diesel. For the commander skills, I have the underwater protection expert in 1, and in the second slot, the torpedo alert. I would have really liked to have the battlefield support for an additional air defense alert, but the problem is you're in tier 10. Lots of things, lots of destroyers, lots of things with torpedoes, and she must, you know. And she does handle like a battleship. So you really need the extra warning time. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to get the ship around in time, especially that you don't have a hydro, to get the ship around in time and dodge torpedoes. The artillery maintenance absolutely makes sense. So does the air defense expert. I do have the fire supremacy. Survivalist would, given how large her HP pool is, would make sense as well. It's just a commander I've ported over. So after playing a couple of battles, I would probably switch over to the survivalist if I was going to with the eventual setup. I have the generalist in 6, marksman absolutely because of the precise aiming, and I've got extinguisher here to make up for not using the fire prevention module in the second slot. Now, you could actually use the close quarters combat expert, maybe, or the demo expert. It's really a matter of choice. Here, compartment maintenance maybe, but honor seeker maybe as well. Probably the APCS for the upper, because the 305s at range will struggle to necessarily do damage to enemy cruisers occasionally, and especially battleships. So with a 14-second reload, I don't want to fire HE at battleships too much, because it's just not having the alpha damage. So having better penetration on plunging fire for a long-range battleship would be the way I was going to go. And probably horizontal protection for the last one. But I figured not everybody has a fully trained captain around for these things, so we'll play with this. What else we got? For the elite bonus, I have gone with the main battery firing range, because again, this ship is all about range, and the precision, even without the precision mod, is excellent, even at long range. So these guns are very, very precise. So I wanted to put everything into range that I possibly can. The historical camo kind of plays into the same direction. So you get hit points, you get range, you get better dispersion, and you get torpedo damage reduction. I haven't put it on because the crates currently only give the ship. It's not in a bundle, it's in a crate. So I wanted to show, and these are expensive with 6,000 gold. That's a lot of money. So I wanted to show what you can do without the historical camo. So we're just sailing the regular seaborne assault here. All right, I think we've covered all the bases. So let's get into a game. Okay, we're playing on one of the big maps, Deadlock. And what do we have? So we're top tier. It's a carrier battle, and we have Gearing, Shima, Z, and a Botibuki on the enemy team. There's a Buffalo that that's probably something we will be predestined to deal with, because we have 3 destroyers on our side. So let's go with this. Now, again, like I said, you're in a cruiser. You're not really in a cruiser. You're in a battle cruiser. So destroyer hunting is not what you're good at. What am I going to do? I am spawning on our right flank. So I'm probably going to head towards A and support the 2 destroyers there, provided that they're also going A. Otherwise, I'm going to go B. But B is very open, so we'll see where these 2 are going and where the carrier is going. Okay, carrier is scouting towards A cup-ish. Is he? Kinda? Somewhat? Yeah. Okay, carrier scouting A, so we'll know what's coming. So I'm going to go with the Shima and the Yugumo here. Okay, we have, what do we have over there? Battleship Cruiser and a Z. Okay, there's a Republic. Now, I really want to hit the Buffalo from here, but I'm not quite in range yet, and he's somewhat behind, and I haven't switched to manual locking, so I'm just going to hit the Republic. And I am going to get into A, but I'm going to loop out. Oh, the Taiho is coming here as well. Alright, it's a couple of semi-pens. So we have the Buffalo. I'm going to go into A and try to deter the Buffalo. Now I have to watch out with the Republic and see that I dodge under those shells as much as possible. Yeah, that was 10,000 damage very quickly, just from one salvo from the Republic. So I do have to watch out on the carriers coming in as well. It seems to be dropping me. But the Buffalo is a huge danger for our destroyers, so I'm going to need to focus on that thing, and I'm turning wildly, but yeah, she turns so slowly that I'm going to take all those torps, I think. Yeah, pretty much. So it's time for a heal, and the Buffalo has run into one of the islands, so of course everyone's shooting at me, but that's fine. I'm going to get some hits in on the Buffalo and just push him away, such that our destroyers can hold that island in the middle. And we've got, so there's 3 of us here, and we're holding against 4 ships. A Z, the Buffalo, the Republic, and the carrier. Alright, so hopefully the 2, our destroyers can keep the cap, and I'm just going to be, I'm already almost out of health. So I'm going to hunt the Buffalo as much as I can, such that he stops shooting at our destroyers, because that thing has a lot of 200mm guns. Okay, let's see if I can get some fire in. I don't want to deal with the Z46 right now, because again, I need our destroyers. And this is what I mean, right? Even with 305s at this range, it only semi-pens against the Buffalo. Okay, I'm still getting fire from the Republic, but I do want to push that Buffalo away and make sure that he's not... okay, there comes the carrier again. So, slamming her into reverse, because I'm getting low on health, and seeing if I can dodge those torps. Okay, I should be able to mostly dodge that one. Okay, and speed up again, so I'm not losing my turn. And maybe I can dodge a couple more from the second drop. 2, I'm gonna take 2, am I? Yeah. Yep, that's 2. Okay, so I'm relatively low on health. But we've pushed the Buffalo away, and it looks like our destroyers are still alive. So we've mission accomplished. We've traded all our health, but the carrier has left the destroyers alone. And the Buffalo has been pushed out, which is kind of what I wanted to achieve here. So yeah, again, this is the range you want to play that ship in, at maximum range. Okay, there comes some more dive bombers. What am I on? 14,000 HP. Okay, time for using the second defensive AA. Okay, no fires. Good, so I can keep my my damage con. Okay, that's the Buffalo again, and again he's firing. I don't see firing at. I'm not sure, but. We've already shot down 15 planes. Okay, that's a couple better hits at the Buffalo, a couple of overpens as well. At closer range, this is getting better, but I can just get that through there. Oh yeah, there we go. That's better. Okay, so we've done some decent damage against the Buffalo. The carrier is seems to have been dropping other things instead of me. Oh yeah, there's Shima still. Okay, so Shima is hunting the carrier, so hopefully the carrier... Oh, that hurt. Hopefully the carrier is not focusing on me for a second until my next heal comes offline, but that Shima should have waited just a little bit longer until I had time to loop around, because I would have been able to kill the Buffalo. So now, yeah, Shima is dead. Buffalo got him. Buffalo was using the wreck of the Republic to dodge the torpedoes, but now I've got him at 8 kilometers, and he doesn't stand a chance, even though I'm on low health, and the Buffalo's got lots of guns. But with that salvo I should be able to get him. Okay, yeah, got him. Alright, there comes the carrier again. So at this point we're running. But yeah, you see, even though she is made to withstand 200mm armor piercing, it's... okay, our carrier actually helps. Yeah, something like the Buffalo or a Des Moines with their rapid reload is... am I going to survive? Just about so. Is just going to plane shred through. So yeah, we've won this, and we've done our job here as a support. but there was no way we could have pushed further into the cap in a more aggressive fashion, or dealt with destroyers as they came. You have to stay at long range. Okay, this is probably going to be the end. You have to stay at long range. Yeah, that's it. At long range and snipe from the second row. And try to... Your primary target are enemy cruisers, heavy and light, if you can hit them. And support things like support your destroyers, draw fire, use your hit point pool if you can. But as you see, you're running out of HP very, very quickly on this ship. Which makes her, for me personally, just too much of a one-trick pony, I'd say. I like, especially when it comes to cruisers, I like the versatility. I like the fact that you can play them in many roles. They have rapid-firing guns, which means you can deal with destroyers, you can deal with battleships, you can deal with carriers, you can effectively dodge torpedoes much better than in this thing. Very well played from our carrier, by the way, who was doing the right thing and not trying to focus down the shiny new ship sailed by the community contributor. I do realize that I'm putting a target on my back here with sailing with a CC badge, but you know, it's just what you do. So yeah, are you going to get glorious battles and huge damage numbers? So far, for me, not really. That's not what the ship is about. You can play her. She has a tactical value, definitely, in just annoying the enemy and drawing fire and supporting your lighter, faster ships. But this is definitely a defensive ship. This is not something you can easily go into a center cup and get an early cup and bow tank battleships. You'll be dead in no time. So that's the Stalingrad. And now you know. So if you want to get one, or if you encounter one in the enemy team, then you know what you're up for or up against. That's it for today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye.